there's no type of yoga that I haven't really tried to learn, even from the technical, meaning from the, practical standpoint. And after my awakening, I realized this is bogus. It's nothing. It's a state. It's a state rather than I can do whatever bending, but if I'm not in a state, none of this bending helps me, right? After my awakening, I had in my collection, never read them, but I thought, okay, the book is named Meditation. I remembered, and I took this thick book, Meditation. Not a single word about the real state that I've experienced. That was a real awakening for me. Second awakening, to realize that it's all bogus, all these books, everything. And all that I've realized, wait a minute, it has nothing to do with techniques. It has nothing to do with concentration. It has nothing to do with forceful breathing or no breathing. It has to do with acquiring yoga at first and then living life through this yoga. That's all. And yes, I am very rough and very rude sometimes, but because I want to make the point. Stop wasting your time. If you want to stretch your body, nobody says it's wrong. Do it, but don't call it yoga, because it's nothing to do with that. You want to do stretching, you want to do backward bending, you want to do standing on the head, great. You want to do martial arts, great. Just don't call it yoga. Don't call it spiritual path. It's the ego that wants higher connection, but it wants to be empowered by that higher connection because it is empowered from within. And yet it doesn't take the connection as a, in a healthy way. It takes it in a very unhealthy way. Like, I need now to possess. I need now to control it. I need now to validate myself through this connection, instead of growing through this connection in a healthy way where there is a proper distance and respect. It's either overwhelm or it is rejection and competition, because this is still an unhealthy ego. And unfortunately, it's with most of the people, but it has nothing to do with yoga. Sitting there with eyes closed, sitting there with eyes open, if you're not in the state, if there is no warmth, if there is no this warm, fuzzy, grounded, blissful state at all times with which you can speak or keep silence, with which you can cook or clean or walk or run or do anything, or be with people, be without people, then it's no yoga. Then it's no spirituality. Spirituality is so much beyond anything. And yet still we need to grow our intellect. We need to upbring our mind in a proper way. We need to reparent our mind, which is wounded and traumatized. And that's why we need supposedly a spiritual journey, a spiritual path, a spiritual guide, because through that, through the presence of a living example, we learn. How many living examples are there? Not many. You can see yoga teachers, meditation teachers, their life is a havoc. Yes, everyone's life can be a havoc temporarily. The question is, can you take yourselves out of it and grow and recreate and change and balance out again? Because the master is about balancing. Yoga is about balance. And if we don't understand this, we don't know anything about spirituality. No matter how many years we spent there, twisted our bodies or sat in that meditation, it's all just bogus. There's nothing to do with reality of human existence. If we deny, believe, protect, or, righteous about something, or defend something righteously, it's all means that we're still traumatized, we're still unhealed. And we still need to make some kind of an effort to balance and let go. Because once you let go, which is surrender, you realize yoga. And when you realize yoga, whether you are in silence or speaking, whether you are in meditation with closed eyes or open eyes, you are meditation. Whether you're twisting the body, stretching, and when you're doing it through yoga, you are, meaning through that state, you feel even more blissful when your body twists and stretches, you release some tension there. It's even more blissful. But if you're tensed and trying to achieve and validate and think that you're going to gain some power, the end of the journey is always the exit. Is always the exit. Because at some point we need to leave. The question is, can you leave a healthy body or something else? So the question is, are you blissful during life? Which is the state of JIVANMUKTA or JIVANMUKTI? Blissful during life, feeling free, free to express the truth, free to be who you are, not in an arrogant, egotistical way, in a very, very direct way. When you speak the truth, you are thoughtless. When you are speaking with thoughts, you are not truth, you are not authentic. And this is what it is. This is what people don't understand. They ask, what is to be authentic? Is to be thoughtless. And when you speak, when you act out of the thoughtlessness, blissful thoughtlessness, you are truth. Everything is truth then. That's it. That's yoga. That's the high reality. That's the high frequency. That's the real being. There's nothing to add there. And you can feel it if you can. Because the truth emanates, it transmits, it activates your soul, and your soul instantly sort of plunges back within, right? And suddenly you feel content, warm, balanced, this fuzzy feeling like I am home. Because the soul starts recognizing this frequency. That's why we need the living examples. Not the speakers, not the motivational speakers, but the living examples. If you are able to be in that state and cultivating that state more and more and more, which becomes your natural being, you are becoming a living example. And the more you become a living example, the more you start emanating. And the more powerful you are, or the more powerfully grounded you are into your natural being, the more it emanates. It means you become a strong and strong antenna for humanity. You're not to be recognized, you are to serve selflessly, to emanate selflessly. Whether people know you or don't, they come across you, it means the soul manifested it, was called to this frequency, and recognize that frequency beyond the form. That type of an example cannot be a crutch. It is something that uplifts, that returns back to the essential, to the immortal existence. True masters always conceal their power and live in the world, act as ordinary people. But sometimes when the time comes with right beings, where there is soul recognition, they suddenly beam, they suddenly emanate, they suddenly reveal their true light essence beyond words, that most of the people cannot recognize, even passing them by or interacting with them on ordinary level. Because in order to recognize the higher frequency being, we need to have that being within ourselves. We need to carry that frequency within our own soul. And only through the connection we can recognize it, and through the cultivation of this frequency within, we can say that we cultivate the connection with the spiritual being or someone else who is of the same kind. So that we can learn and progress and refine ourselves further. Because if you do have that frequency within, someone else might have it in a more intense way. So because of that intensity, they can assist you in revealing that to the full potential within you, by helping you recognize that which is not of the high frequency, that is of distortive nature. And this is how the actual learning is happening. Other people in the world can reflect, they can reflect your distortions or features back to you, or they can provoke certain reactions. But the higher frequency of being in touch with the high frequency, even for a minute, can push all that very much to the surface and even dissolve it. Not many people nowadays are capable of this kind of learning. Nor they have any reference point. How can they recognize it, right? Because it's not written in the books. It's not taught online. Nobody speaks about it because nobody knows. And even if they speak about it, they actually haven't walked the path. They haven't mastered themselves. They have only tried and hit a dead end because they assume that they are something or someone, because they wanted to occupy a niche, because they wanted to be called something. If you want to continue growing, you don't call yourself anything, but people will recognize you for who you truly are, because you've become a vessel without really wanting or knowing what the destination should be, because there's no destination. Otherwise, what immortality are we talking about? What is the immortal essence if we have a destiny? We flow. And when the clarity reveals, there is peace. When the soul instantly returns to its own purity, it recognizes this. It's just like everything is suddenly fine. Everything is all right. And it's always been that way. It's because the mind dissolves in the frequency of the soul. It's the mind that cries. It's the mind that surrenders to the soul. The guru is the soul, the higher consciousness. And the mind is the student that surrenders to that teacher, the soul, that is the key to creation. Only the one who has surrendered to their own higher consciousness can be called a guru in the human form. Our own high being is the access point to creation. Those who surrender to their higher selves or higher consciousness, whichever way you call it, become true gurus on earth, the masters of balance. By example, they teach through emanation. Through their presence, they bring purity. They invoke this purity. They awaken higher consciousness and emanate yoga, emanate that blissful state of absorption, deep meditation. Through their words of just presence, just being. These beings bring clarity, invoke the ultimate reality, which is beyond the human form. And in the space of high existence, there are no teachers, no students, no teachings. There is being, the ultimate existence, or the truth. And all the shadows, all the illusions, delusions dissolve, leave the body. All the diseases leave the body. All the corruption, distortions dissolve. And the heart expands and overwhelms with love, overflows with love and contentment. All the past ancestral karmic deeds and pacts and curses and negativity are forgiven. Forgiven means they dissolve, because the light of truth shines upon them. The clarity is revealed from within by the soul to the mind, to the body. And this light of the soul enlightens all the cells, heals the cells, the organs, the blood vessels, all the systems. When we recognize the importance of our body as a tool of existence, when we recognize our soul in this body, we start appreciating life in the body. We start wishing to heal, not in a superficial way, but in a deep way, by changing the perception, by prioritizing our own being, by cultivating this blissful state of, or not state, but the being of our soul in the body. And this being starts gradually healing from within, healing our cells, organs, replenishing everything. All these diets and protocols are only supplementary. because you need to have a command to the body. You have to command the body to heal. You have to command the body to prioritize its well-being from within. Then the healing happens. And all the old programs and patterns and negative ideas dissolve. See?